This conference will now be recorded.
Hello students, I'm Dr. Divya from TeenEinstein. So here is the last part of 8th chapter, Heredity, and this is the last part. We are going to discuss the questions, mainly the points which we have discussed. An outline I'll give. Then we are moving to the questions. So first, we know that in this chapter we are learning about accumulation of variation during reproduction. How these variations are accumulating during reproduction and when it is moving from generation to generation. Then about heredity. These are the main concepts which we are discussing in this chapter. So here in this chapter about heredity we are discussing, then about variations also, right? Heredity and variations. Then how these are leading, these variations are moving to evolution, or how it is creating evolution, or how it's becoming a reason of evolution, that is there. Okay, and how a new species is arising. Okay, so what are all the points behind the speciation? So all these concepts we are discussing here. Here we know that here in sexual reproduction the characters are getting inherited from parents, right? And in an offspring that characters will be there, or that features or traits will be there, but along with that slight variations also. So only sexual reproduction can create variations, right? In asexual reproduction, that offspring which is formed after that asexual reproduction, that will be exact copy of the parent, right? Here two individuals are involved and both are producing gametes, and that gametes are fusing together to form the zygote, and that zygote is developing into a new individual, right? So here the parental characters will be there, at the same time that will be having variations also, right? So here what and all we have learned is variations. About variations, the variations which are arising during the process of reproduction, that can be inherited. We said acquired and inherited traits are there, right? Acquired characters means to overcome one situation or the extreme conditions, some characters will get acquired. That reason may be the environmental factors or something like that. Okay, so that are acquired characters. Inherited means that character is inherited from the parents. Okay, so variations which are arising during the process of reproduction. Okay, so variations which are arising during reproduction. Okay, so the variations which are acquired during reproduction, that can be inherited. Clear? Okay, next point what we have learned, the variations. These type of variations that may lead to increased survival of the individuals. Okay, these variations help to increased survival. That's another point which we have learned in this chapter. Okay, this kind of variation may help that individual to survive. So increased survival will happen due to this variation. Okay, and here we said during sexual reproduction they have two copies of genes for the same trait, right? During sexual reproduction. So how they'll be having the genes? Sexually reproducing individuals have two copies of genes for the same trait. For a single trait, two copies of genes will be there, right? So if these copies, this may be identical, may not be identical. So if these copies are not identical, the trait may or may not be identical. Okay, if it's may not identical, it's not identical means if it is non-identical copies, what will happen? One trait will get expressed. The trait which is getting expressed, that expressed trait, that will be called as dominant trait. Okay, and the trait which is not expressed, that is called as recessive trait. Okay, so what is recessive trait and what is dominant trait? Both we have learned. And in human beings, here we said that human beings, the sexual determination, sex determination that is depending on whether the paternal chromosome is X or Y. Determination is based on the paternal chromosome, right? If it is an XX condition, it will give a girl, and XY means that would be a boy, right? So that's how the sex is determined in human being. So that is the sex of the child, that depends on whether the paternal chromosome is X or Y. Okay. Then changes which are happening to the non-reproductive tissues. Non-reproductive tissues changes. In non-reproductive tissues, any changes are happening which is due to the environmental factors and all. That changes, these are not inheritable. Okay, non-reproductive tissues which are changing due to some environmental factors and all, those things are non-inheritable. Clear? Then we said about evolution. So that evolutionary relationship, that is traced in the classification of organism. That is helpful. This evolutionary relationship is helpful for the classification, of organisms. Okay, Then fossil studies, fossils, that is also helping for the classification. Okay. So these are the things. Then we have learned about homologous organs, analogous organs, and all these organs or the features that may be adapted to new functions. Okay, so during the course of evolution, that features, they may get adapted to new functions. Okay, so that also may happen. So for that, in that topic, we have learned about homologous and analogous organs. Clear? So about these many points we have discussed in this chapter. Then we said about the evolution tree. Like evolution tree, like how the multiple branches are there and sub branches are there, like that in evolutionary stage, in each and every stage, new organisms are getting developed. But when a new organism is appearing or a new species is appearing, it doesn't have a meaning that the old one should clear out. Nothing like that. That can also exist, and evolved one also can exist. Along with that, this also can exist. Sometimes some organisms that may disappear, right? That because of the environmental conditions, in that condition, that particular organism or particular species that cannot exist, in that condition that may disappear. Okay, but it doesn't have a meaning that only one organism. See, so many organisms are there, A, B, C, D. This is a continuous evolution. So it doesn't have a meaning that A should disappear, then only B can appear. Nothing like that. A along with A, B can also survive, but this will be the evolved one. Okay. So when moving from one generation to another generation, that accumulation of variation will be there. That's all. Clear? So let's move to the, then about human evolution we have learned. Now we need to move to the questions. How do Mendel's experiment shows that traits may be dominant or recessive? Mendel's experiment. How it is showing that traits dominant or recessive? Traits may be dominant or recessive. Actually, for this, for explaining this, we need to select the characters or the features which Mendel have selected. So Mendel crossed a pure tall pea plant, right? In Mendel's experiment, he selected several features. So here we can say the first one, like Mendel crossed pure tall plant. Pure tall. Pure tall means both alleles that should be similar, capital T, capital T, pure tall with pure dwarf. Okay, see, he tried selfing for several generations and there is no change in the feature. That's why he selected, that's what called as pure lines. Okay, so pure dwarf plant. So how you will give symbols for that? Small t, small t. This is the recessive trait. So same thing, same letter you should give, but capital letter and small letter, like that you should symbolize. And he crossed. So how we can write? Capital T with small t. This is pure tall and this is pure dwarf, right? And how it will produce gametes? Capital T. Here only one type of gamete will be there, right? And again, in F1 generation, this is the F1 generation, first filial generation. In that generation, both gametes will join together and it will form which type of plant? Capital T, small t. This is hybrid, right? Both gametes join together and form. This is hybrid. But this hybrid, here you can see one dominant allele and one recessive allele. Both are there. So when dominant ones are coming, the recessive trait that will not get expressed. So here which one will get expressed? Tall character, tall, that trait will get expressed. So tall, all plants will be tall, but hybrid. Okay. Here both alleles will be there, but the dominant allele will get expressed. Okay. Then again, this is going for selfing to produce the second one. Okay. Selfing means here capital T, small t, that hybrid. Selfing means same type. Right. The same plant. It is getting pollinated. Okay. Here self-pollination is happening. So here this will give capital T, small t, two types of gametes. And this also will give capital T and small t, two types of gametes. So here you can see, one second. Okay, here what you can see, this is the F2 stage. Okay, after from this step it's coming here. F2, how it will be? See, here one combination, capital T, capital T. Okay, then capital T, small t. Sorry, for gametes will give that circle. Combinations we should not give like that. This is capital T, capital T. Next gametes will fuse together, capital T, small t. Next, these two, again it will give capital T, small t. And the last combination, you'll get same types of alleles. Same type of allele, small t. Okay. So here both the alleles are dominant alleles. So definitely this will be tall. Here one dominant and one recessive allele. But whenever dominant allele is present, that will get expressed. Right. So here this also will be tall. And what about the third one? This also same. Tall. This is both alleles are recessive ones. So what it will be? Dwarf. So according to Mendel's experiment, in the F2 generation after selfing, the ratio, this trait which we can see, that is tall. Out of 4, 3 plants are tall and 1 is dwarf. One combination is giving the recessive trait. Okay, so this ratio, how is the ratio? 3 tall and 1 dwarf. 3 tall and 1 dwarf. So this ratio, phenotypic ratio, phenotype means which we can see, that character. Phenotype means the morphological feature which we can see. 3 tall and 1 dwarf, right? So the phenotypic ratio is 3:1, right? Next, about the genotype, the genetic condition we are thinking means, here you can see this is dominant one. Both the alleles are dominant, but it is tall. Both the alleles are dominant, which is expressing the feature tall character, tall trait. So that is called as Homozygous. Homozygous means both alleles are similar. Homozygous condition and tall. This is both alleles are different. Heterozygous in different conditions. Both the alleles are in different conditions. Heterozygous, but this is also tall because here the dominant allele is there. So that trait will get expressed. This is tall. So homozygous, dominant, 1. And heterozygous dominant, you will get 2. And last, homozygous recessive, that is 1. That is also 1. So here, this 3 tall, that will get differentiated into 1 homozygous tall and 2 heterozygous tall. Then the recessive, for that nothing. No change in that. 1. Okay. So genotypically, we can write this ratio 1:2:1, but phenotype will be in the ratio of 3:1. Okay. So this is one question. Next question is, dihybrid cross. In Mendel's experiment, how he is explaining dihybrid cross. In Mendel's experiment. Okay, here while learning about that topic, we learn round green. 2 characters he considered. Okay, that is round green. Okay, for round R green Y. Okay, then next one is wrinkled yellow. Wrinkled yellow. See, in seed color, yellow is the dominant character and green is the recessive character. And round, seed shape, round is the dominant character and wrinkled is the recessive character. So this how you will represent round and wrinkled. One character, contrasting traits which we have considered, round and wrinkled. So here round, dominant one, wrinkled, recessive one. Then here green is recessive one. So the contrasting one, yellow, for the same gene, that is dominant one. Okay, here according to Mendel's law, when we are doing this, round and green seeds and with wrinkled and yellow seeds. So round green will show capital R, small y. And wrinkled yellow seed, that shows small r, capital Y. So in F1 generation, how it will be, all the plants, F1 generation, all plants produce round and yellow seeds. Right? In F1, round and yellow seeds. Round and yellow. Okay. Then see, this will give gamete R, Y. Right? And this will give R, Y. Wrinkled yellow will produce gamete like this. So when we are crossing these both, how we will get the F1 R, Y. This is round and yellow. Right? R, R, Y, Y, round and yellow. Then this will, same like the previous question, this will undergo selfing. So selfing means, again how it will be, R, R, Y, Y, R, R, Y, Y. So from here you will get different types of gametes. R, Y, this is one gamete. Next, R, Y. Next, R, Y. And last one, R, Y. Okay. In the same way, here also we will get. Maybe male and this is female. Here also R, see from the second one, R, Y. Next, R, Y. Next, small r, capital Y. Okay, small r, small y. So here, if you are writing the combinations, see, I'll write one or two combinations here. See, these combination, this and this combination, capital R, capital R, capital Y, capital Y. This will be round and yellow, right? Round and yellow. Next, if you're moving to this combination, this one and this one, again, capital R, capital R, capital Y, small y. This also round, but and yellow, but heterozygous yellow, right? Here, the third one, here capital R, small r, then capital Y, capital Y. This also round because here dominant allele is there, round and yellow. Come to this last one, how it is, capital R, capital Y, small y. Again, that is also round and yellow. Finally, if you are filling all the columns, the F2 ratio will be 9 is to 3 is to 3 is to 1. In that, 9 will be round yellow. Round yellow. Okay. Here 3 will be round green. Okay. Then here next 3, wrinkled yellow. Wrinkled yellow. Means smaller combination will come. See, think about this one. These one and this. Smaller. Again here, this also will come. Smaller. That wrinkled yellow combination will come. Okay. Then wrinkled green. One will be wrinkled green. Which one is that? This combination, the final combination. Okay. Wrinkled yellow. So that's how we can write a complete dihybrid cross experiment, Mendel's experiment. Okay. Next, third question. Third question is, sex determination in human being. Okay. This question also in X, Y. This is male. Okay. And XX. This is the female condition. Okay. This is the chromosome condition. So here, this male will produce two types of gametes. That means X and Y, right? And a female that can produce only one type of gamete, X. Okay, this will give only one type, XX, right? So here, the combinations will be these two are joining. These two gametes are joining means how it will be XX, the individual, that is XX. Definitely it will be female. Okay, here again these two are joining. That also both XX condition. XX again you will get female condition. Here XY, XY, this is a male, right? XY, male. Okay, so this not the maternal chromosomes. The paternal chromosome is deciding whether the child is a male or female. Okay, when the sperm with the Y chromosome fertilizes with the egg, that results in the zygote, which is developing into a male child. Okay, so that's how sex determination in human being. Then see that beetles in three different conditions during evolution. We have learned about the beetle, red beetles, which are three case studies we did. So based on that, the next question comes. What are the different ways in which individuals with a particular trait may increase in a population? Okay. So there are three different ways, three case studies we did, three different ways in which individuals with a particular trait may increase. Individuals with particular trait increase in a population. Okay. So during reproduction, color variation. In first case, we studied about color variation. So that color variation during reproduction. So that can pass that color to the progeny. Okay. That is passing that color to that progeny. So that may protect. That gives protection from the predator. Right. Then accidental. Like a small population that can change the frequency of some genes in the population. Okay, so that is like a survival advantage. Okay, and the third condition, poor nourishment. Due to poor nourishment, some population can change the frequency of some genes. Okay, and if the conditions are improving, that may lead to increase again. Okay, so the maturation, then adaptation to environment, and the natural selection. Maturation, adaptation to environment, then the natural selection. All these may increase the particular trait in a population. Okay. Next question is, Why are the traits acquired during the lifetime of an individual not inherited? So during the lifetime, one character is acquired by an individual. Why it is not getting inherited? So this we have already discussed while discussing that topic. The traits which are acquired traits, acquired and inherited traits are there. So acquired traits during the lifetime of an individual, that is just helping or enabling that individual to adapt itself to the surroundings. Clear? It is helping that individual to adjust with the surroundings. Okay. This acquired traits helps the individual to adjust with the surroundings. Okay, it is just helping to adjust with that particular time or that adjust with the surroundings. But it is not at all changing the genetic makeup of that organism, okay, or that individual. Not changing the genetic makeup. It's not changing the genetic condition of that organism. Okay, so the change which is getting inherited to the next generation, that is the genetic change. Okay, that comes from the germ cells of that organism. The changes which are happening in the germ cells or the genetic changes are getting inherited, not the acquired ones. Clear? Next question is, why are the small numbers of surviving tigers, small numbers surviving tigers, that cause that makes a cause of worry from the point of view of genetics? In genetics point of view, small number of a particular organism or a particular species, for example here they are saying tiger, why it is creating a tension or worry? See, the small number of surviving tigers, small number means they are creating a cause of worry from the point of view of genetics. In genetical point of view, it is creating worries, because if that very small number means there is a chance of loss, right? If these small numbers they are disappearing means, or all are dying due to some situation, all are dying means there is a great loss in the gene pool. The whole genes that will be lost forever, right? So many genes will be eliminated from the gene pool. That's the reason. Okay. The next question is about the factors which are leading to the rise of a new species. Factors for new species. For the rise of new species. That is the next question. See, genetic drift. Genetic drift. This is simple, direct answer. Genetic drift and natural selection. Right, genetic drift and natural selection. This may lead to the rise of new species. Then comes the question, give an example of characteristics being used to determine how close two species are in evolutionary terms. In evolutionary terms, how the how close two species are. For that, we need to give example of characteristics. Okay, here comes the homologous organs, analogous organs, then vestigial organs. All this you need to write. Okay, so there give an example of characteristics being used to determine how close two species are in the evolutionary terms. Okay, so evolutionary terms, there you should write analogous organs like wings of bat and wings of bird. Okay, they have different design but both are having common function. Then homologous organ means common design but they are doing different functions. Clear? So like that you need to give the example. Then to the same topic, another question: can the wing of a butterfly and the wing of a bat be considered homologous organ? Why or why not? See, butterfly and bat. Here, butterfly, now we know the classifications and all, right? So, butterfly, that is belonging to phylum Arthropoda. Arthropoda, and that is having a chitinous exoskeleton. And the bat, it is belonging to Mammalia. Right? Bat is belonging to mammals or Mammalia. That is having wings of skin. Wings of skin. Okay. So both butterfly and the bat, they are not homologous. Okay. Not homologous. Homologous means what? Organs have common design but different function. Here the design is different. Okay, but function is same. They are not homologous in wing structure. But they are analogous. Okay, not homologous. They have similar functions. Flying, both are used for flying, but the structure is different. So they are not homologous, they are analogous in wing structure. Then, so from this part questions got over. Next part is what are fossils? About fossils. So you need to write the preserved remains of animals or plants or the other type of organisms from the distant past, that is called as fossils. So what is fossil? What is, you need to write first what is fossil. Then fossils, they are providing the evidence. What evidence they are giving? The present animals, they have originated from the previously existing ones through evolution. Okay, so the previously existing ones, their fossils we are getting, right? And the fossils can be utilized to reconstruct the evolutionary history of an organism. Okay, so that's about fossils you need to write. And these fossils, they will give the connecting link, right? Connecting link between two groups of organisms. So they are helping to trace out the evolutionary history of some animals, and they are giving the connecting link, or they are working as a connecting link between two groups of organism and the period during which that organism was on the earth. About that, the time in the history when these different species were formed, or they became, at what time they became extinct. That time period, that helps to refer the time period also. Okay, so that's about the forces, questions from that part, forces. Okay, then about evolution, human evolution, that we have already discussed while discussing about the human evolution itself. We said human beings, why they are looking so different from each other in terms of size, color, then looks, etc. So all human beings, we know that even they have different size, color, and looks, they are belonging to the same species because they have similar DNA sequence and they have descended from the same ancestor. Okay, and human beings, what they can do, they can reproduce among themselves. So the variations of skin color, or the size, or the looks, that may be due to the environmental factors. Okay, or some kind of mutations or mixing of characters during that reproduction. Due to that, some changes might have happened, but all these are having same ancestors, and they can interbreed, they can reproduce among themselves, so they are belonging to the same group. Okay, so these are the main questions which we are getting from this chapter. So all the topics, especially you will get confused in the Mendel's experiment, that part, while writing or when we are giving the schematic representation. So just nothing to worry. Pure character means, or pure lines means, both the alleles will be similar. If it is a hybrid means both the alleles will be different, and the dominant character will get expressed in the next generation. That's what you need to remember while writing, while giving the representations. Okay, nothing else. All the topics you will get from this chapter, else and all will give direct question. There is no indirect questions from this except Mendel's experiment. If they are giving with different factors or different combinations, just think that pure lines means both alleles will be similar, and if it is a hybrid or one, you cannot say that dominant character will get expressed. Okay, when both dominant allele and recessive allele both are coming, that is called as a hybrid condition. In that condition, dominant allele will get expressed. That much only you need to write. Okay, so that's all about heredity and evolution. So next class onwards, we'll start the new chapter. So here we have discussed everything, like all the topics we have covered, and some portions they have deleted from NCERT book from this year onwards. But that about evolution, that also we have studied in detail, because in higher classes that continuation of that topic, evolution, will come. So now if you are studying that, it will be easy to understand. So I have included that topic also, and we have discussed almost all the questions from the NCERT book. Okay, so in the next class onwards, we'll start the next chapter. Thank you.